Hello and welcome to my signature assignment presentation. Today I will be presenting a newly created course, How to Write Anecdotal Records for Child Observations, and asking for your approval to implement this portion of the course to the early childhood education students. My name is Keandria McClish Boyd, and I am an adjunct professor teaching early childhood education for Metropolitan Community College. My educational background includes a PhD in Adult Learning and Leadership, certification in Family Life Education, and a background in Child and Family Development. For this course, I used the Understanding by Design framework to construct the course, since it is designed to think purposefully about the goal of the instruction. It also helps the learner make meaning of big ideas and transfer what they have learned to their current work in early childhood education. As the learner gains confidence and competence, the lessons are adapted. In the next few slides, you will see the development of the course using the Understanding by Design framework. Early childhood education is a critical period for development. At this time, children are exposed to a myriad of concepts and ideals that are foundational to their learning and development. Early childhood educators work with children and their families in educational settings. They also work with typically developing children and children with developmental delays and disabilities, families, communities, and work teams to aid in the learning and development of the child. Early childhood educators are responsible for assisting children in their physical, intellectual, language, emotional, and social development. Therefore, it is important for early childhood educators to constantly assess the children's development. One way early childhood educators assess children is to use observation methods, particularly anecdotal records. Anecdotal records record specific observations of an individual's behavior, skills, or attitudes. They are detailed narrative descriptions of an incident involving one or several children used to document the behavior and skills of a child or small group of children. This lesson will focus on introducing anecdotal records to the early childhood educator and demonstrate how to write an anecdotal record to assess children. Since early childhood educators work with typically developing children and children with developmental delays and disabilities, as well as families, communities, and work teams to aid in the learning and development of the child, it is important to have them write effective assessments. Throughout my tenure as an early childhood educator, each semester the students and I discuss the various methods to assess children, and often the learners have trouble with writing effective anecdotal records. This lesson will be a part of a larger series in which the learner will be exposed to various assessments for early childhood education. The goal of this instruction is to have early childhood educators practice writing anecdotal records in the 20-minute course. The lesson has been broken down into 3 parts. Developmental domains in early childhood, what is an anecdotal record, and the importance of assessment. Breaking the learning down into sections gives the learner an in-depth experience with the material and helps the learner retain the information. Mixed media will also be used to convey the information to the learners through videos, handouts and guides, and peer learning, and info checks that are implemented for each section. The instruction will be through blended learning, utilizing the organization's learning management system and the classroom, on a rolling basis with the other trainings on different types of assessment. The learners will be assessed through the submitted anecdotal records worksheet and in groups to analyze, conceptualize, or identify an activity that could be used to assist in the development of the child based on the anecdotal record. Learners will also be asked to submit feedback regarding the lesson and the effectiveness of the training. As a final step, the development team will revisit how effective the learning experiences aligned with the overall goals, using the student assessments and feedback from the learners and the team. Thank you for your time and your vote of confidence in developing effective training for the early childhood educators.